Welcome. Yeah. I'm going to do it again. Welcome back to the episode 19 of Learning Kotlin Live. So we in the last since our since the new year we have talked a lot about. We barely talked any about the Kotlin mechanism itself. So let's come back to the Kotlin mechanism itself, and so that we can do better in our code signal works. So yeah, the code signal works are just where we write code, but the core value of this episode itself is to learn about Kotlin. That's that's the title, right? So I'm going to today we're going to visit visibility modifiers. So let's have a really quick recap with whatever we have already learned. We've learned the basic types, which are integers, blah blah, double maybe, and we have already used all of those in our coding exercises and at code signal. So we learned, I'm not sure, I don't think I have covered packages and imports, but most of these are just the same as Java, I believe. Let's take a quick look. Yeah, it's just most of it is just same as Java. Control flow and return and jumps, these are just some language, some coding basics rather than Kotlin basics. So this brings us to classes and inheritance. So yeah, maybe this is something that we need to go through today. I'm going to go through it really quickly by taking a look at whatever I already know. So classes in Kotlin are declared using the keyword class. We already know this because at code signal, that's what we see at code signal as well. I think so. Let's see. Arcade. Where's my intro? There you are. Oh, I'm a little bit sleepy today. Sleepy actually. Function. Okay, we don't write classes at code signal, but yeah, because this syntax itself is just so identical to Java. So the class declaration consists of a class name. So if the class has no body, curly braces can be omitted, and which does not make much sense, but it's just a syntax sugar. So constructors, there is always a primary constructor, and it is part of the class headers. That's the constructor class person. Okay, so yeah, it's between the brackets, between the left brackets and the name of the class. And it can have any signature with any length of parameters. And the constructor itself can be omitted. And okay, that's why we're calling it a primary constructor. The primary constructor cannot contain any code. And okay, so it only gives you some parameters or whatever. It should be instantiation in the same order as they appear in the class body with the property initializers. So let's take a look at what would happen. So first property, hello, that's here because it was initialized already. Really? That's weird. The primary constructor cannot contain blah blah. It can be placed in initializer blocks, which are prefixed with the init keyword. Okay, that's weird to me. During an instance initialization, the initializer blocks are executed in the same order as they appear in the class, but interleaved with the property initializers. So actually, it's just part of the initialization. That's really weird to me. Yeah, that's a class. So there are, okay. So yeah, there are some properties here. Okay. Now that parameters of the primary constructor can be used in the initializer blocks, and this is the place where the only place that we can access these parameters. They can be used in property initialize declared in the class body. And actually now, so why do we need these init here? That's weird. Yeah, why do we need these init if we can't use it anywhere? I mean, if these are just a large init block. For declaring properties and initializing them from the primary constructor, Kotlin has a concise syntax. Much the same way as regular properties, the properties declared in a primary constructor can be mutable or read-only. Yeah, all properties can be. Well, yeah, I call them variables, but they are actually properties. Can be mutable or read-only. Okay. Or visible. Yeah, to inject we need the constructor verb modifier. But yeah, that's weird. So I still don't understand why we need these init blocks if we can. Probably one one possibility is print long itself will not be we can't do is this editable? No? No? Yes? No? My guess now is this print long statement is a statement, so they are not property initializers, so they cannot stay at places outside of initializer blocks. That's my guess. Don't hold me on it. I'm going to double check later when we have a chance. So secondary constructors, and which are prefixed with constructor, and it is inside rather than in the first line. It is in the second or later lines. If the class has a primary constructor, each secondary constructor needs to delegate to a primary constructor either directly or indirectly through another secondary constructors. So yeah, I need to call, what's this? Oh, it's done using this keyword. So so if we have a person, and earlier we have constructor which takes a string which is exactly here, first name, and with that we can delegate to it by calling I don't actually get this 100% because how is this parent dot children dot add list related to that? That's so weird. Using the this keyword. Okay, I'm going to I need some more details. Is there any possible details here? How this works? Is there something executable? Yeah, there is no primary constructor for this class. And what just happened? Nothing. Init block, and then constructor. Okay. I still don't get it at all. Yeah, this looks so weird. If this is named, then oh no, it still does not make any sense if it's named. All right, let's take a look at whatever else we can have here. Let's see some that's secondary constructor Kotlin. Right, this is where we are, right? Yeah. Am I going to watch one of these during a stream? That would be an interesting question if I infringe anything, but Kotlin constructor and initializers. Yeah, I need examples. Give me the secondary constructor. So I guess by delegating to the constructors, where is that? Constructor, parent, person. Each secondary constructor needs to delegate to the primary constructor, either directly or indirectly through another secondary constructor. Delegation to another class is done using this keyword. I sincerely don't get it. What does it mean when there's a constructor and this constructor returns a list? Really? I don't think so. I don't quite think so. List name. I think this means that we're delegating this constructor to the one with the string. Yeah, and in this constructor, what we also do is we get a parent, and for the parent's children, we add this, which is a person. I think this is the most yeah, this is the only way I can think of that makes sense. So this name is directly called, or I mean, or at least this is what it's trying to say here, because that it is still delegated to the empty empty primary constructor, which causes the initialization blocks here, and then that's why we have init block first, then the constructor. So the initialization blocks are always caught during the execution of the primary constructor. If a non-abstract class does not declare any constructors, it will have a generated primary constructor with no arguments. The visibility of the constructor will be public. If you do not want your class to have a public constructor, you need to declare an empty primary constructor with non-default, like private. On the JVM, if all of the parameters of the primary constructor have default values, the compiler will generate an additional parameterless constructor which will use the default values. This makes it easier to use Kotlin with libraries such as Jackson or JPA that creates classes instances through. Well, that's not really very relevant for me for now. Customer name, but it means it's talking about what happens if we always have default values. Creating instance of classes, we already know about this. We can't just directly call the we call a constructor as if it were a regular function, yeah, with the name. So there is no new keyword in Kotlin. Well, we're not going to take a look at this now. So class members can contain constructors and initializer blocks. That's what we already seen. Functions, of course, properties. We all know, these are things we already know. And here are something that's special now: nested and inner classes and object declarations. Okay, let me take a look if anyone have left anything in it. No. So interrupt me anytime if you got something to ask me, and if I can answer it. Anyway, we're still on. We still don't know about these two last items. Maybe we're going to learn about it really quick, I guess. All classes in Kotlin have a common superclass any. That's just like the object in Java, the got object. That is the default superclass for a class with no supertypes. Supertypes? What do you mean by supertypes? Oh, it's actually explicitly telling us that it is not object. In particular, it does not have any members other than equals. Please control the drop on. Oh, so it's just telling us that they are not the same, but it's kinda working the same to me, at least now. So explicit supertype. What does it mean by supertype? Place the type after the colon in the class header. What? What's the difference between supertype and superclass if that's the case? Sorry. Superclass has no primary constructor. Well, this talks about if there's a super constructor, then the base class can and must be initialized right there. If the derived class has one. So if there is no primary constructor, then we need to initialize it with the in each secondary constructor. So class derived P and T colon base P means that the probably means that the the derived class Delegate Constructor with its primary constructor, which takes an integer as the parameter, delegates to the base class primary constructor, which also takes an integer as the parameters. So if that's not the case, we'll need to, because view is not my view has no primary constructor, so in each constructor we will initialize differently. Oh, this looks definitely like Android. Overriding methods. Do we have time for all these today? Let's just go through the. So let's go through inheritance today. Let's don't care about. Well, actually inheritance is nearly everything already. So how about that? Stop here and write just a little code by putting what we have just learned into practice. So, okay, that's find the minimal number of moves required to obtain a strictly increasing sequence. So this one is basic, you can just solve it with greedy to me. You have this one, and you need to add whatever that is large, that makes this one larger than this one, and then we add whatever this one is larger than this one. So that sounds like just a greedy for me. So we have a mutable list. That's actually for index and input array dot indices. We don't care about the last one, so okay, how about 0 through input array dot size -1 and it's actually -2. So for items in this range, we're going to take a look at var sum equals to 0 if what's input array comma, you can complete that, index equals to Well, it's actually strictly increasing, right? So it's actually the other way around, right? Right? If it's smaller, if former is smaller, it's actually larger or equal to. And some. That's the difference that we have added. Is that all? What? Why? That's a property. There's a property for size. This is just so hard to memorize. Okay, we've solved it. So, wow. Let's take a look at if we can declare a class here. Test. That's definitely an inner class if we have successfully do it. And that's the initialization of the class. It's going to raise a compile error probably here, because this can only go into the init block. That's my hypothesis. Yeah. What's the syntax of init block? Yeah, it's init. Come on. Proof I'm right. Okay, so that's. Hey, where's the console output? That's quite high. I think most likely it was just ignored because it's empty rather than it's not exist. Oh, come on, give me that high. Okay, got that high. So if we want a constructor here, what's the syntax? Num of type int. That's definitely clearly how these are being delegated. How about if there's a constructor with two num A and num B. And it delegates to this num A. Let's see what happens if we have 0 and 2 here. I think it's going to be 0. I'm going to add one more line here. Yeah, it's 0. 0 is being needed here. So let's print the num B here. I think that's going to wrap the class. Huh? Really? Did I not? Have I not clicked it? Come on, give me 0 and 2. Yeah, so that's all for today's lesson. I hope you had a pleasant journey. I hope you enjoyed the content. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.